The Select Committee on the Integrity in Public Life Bill 2018 begins its work. That's our top story in your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Monday, August 27. So glad you can join us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. A 2017 research financed by First Caribbean International and conducted by the University of the West Indies reveals that citizens feel corruption is rampant. Dr. Fillmore Arlene, head of the management studies at the UWI, who led the research, revealed the startling findings before the Select Committee in the upper chamber this evening, even as he warned that recent charges brought against former International Business Minister Donville Innes were hurting Barbados.
Respondents believe that there's political interference in business, some 89%. And they also believe that there's political interference in the judiciary. That is extremely high. There's also a belief that there's pervasive corruption and fraud in business and government. There's also a belief that government is perceived as not being accountable and transparent. And fourthly, and more importantly, is that government is perceived as not being serious about tackling corruption. So you understand we are dealing with some negative perceptions here. And I'm also reminded of what is really playing out in the international arena of a former politician. It clearly demonstrates the need to have the integrity and public life bill. Because nobody's a winner. Barbados is suffering as a consequence of this going through.
Dr. Arlene lauded the government's attempt to tackle the matter, but he urged that it holds public consultations and review the composition of the proposed Integrity Commission.
We sit in cloistered halls and make decisions without the inclusion of all the persons who will likely be affected with it. I would expect to the saying that the committee will go into the communities and certainly hold some, what we would call like town hall meetings, and have the feedback from the masses, because there's a general distrust in the public sector, about the public sector. Staffing the Integrity Commission. When I went through the bill, I believe a major concern will arise over how the Integrity Commission is staffed. Too often, observers are more apt to jump to conclusions that the commission is filled with political appointees.
Former Chief Justice Sir David Simmons, who set up an Integrity Commission in the Turks and Caicos, was the first expert to address the committee. He said, given the high level of attention being paid to corruption, it's a wise move for Barbados to get its act together.
I think we can all expect that when the IMF conducts their usual Article 4 reviews of countries, in future it will probably comment on actual or perceived corruption within a particular country. So it behoves us to start to put our house in order, to align ourselves with the rest of the world and the best practices that are being developed to enhance good governance.
Sir David, who noted that there has always been apathy to corruption in the region on several levels, suggested that this was because of a fear of victimization, lack of whistleblower legislation, and the absence of freedom of information. He also suggested that the private sector was also a contributor to apathy towards corruption, particularly in the area of campaign financing.
There's big money in government contracts, everyone knows that. And where election campaign financing is non-existent, if legislation for election campaigning is non-existent, and public procurement legislation is toothless, I don't think it is fanciful to suggest that financiers of election campaigns of parties expect that if the donees of their funds are successful, they will have access to lucrative government contracts.
For the first time ever, a woman has been promoted to the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police in Barbados. Acting Commissioner of Police Layla Strickland today received her letters of appointment from Commissioner of Police Tyrone Griffith at a short ceremony at police headquarters. Commandant of the Regional Police Training Center, Sylvester Lewis, and the Senior Superintendent of Police, Euclid Thompson, were also promoted as Assistant Commissioners of Police. The appointments take effect from September 1. It was standing room only at the Seventh-day Adventist Auditorium at Old Bury in St. Philip as relatives, friends, church colleagues, and staff from all levels of the Barbados Postal Service gathered to give thanks for the life of former Postmaster General Margaret Ashby, who passed away 2 weeks ago. During the service, many remembered her as a lady who always gave wise counsel, worked diligently to achieve her goals, and encouraged others to do the same. Her daughter, Lana Ashby, who is a law professor at Cambridge University in the UK, said her mother left her and her sister Lisa with a strong lesson on how to serve God and work hard. Officials also praised Ashby for her significant contribution to the development of the post office, while Pastor Winston Cook reminded the congregation that we are all here for a short while and we should therefore live wisely. In sports, top Barbadian international surfer Chelsea Tuak took the third spot at the WSL 1500 Anglet Surf Pro at the weekend. In an event that featured 56 top international surfers, Tuak made it through the rounds with her speed and power. She was able to get the better of French veteran surfer Canel Boulard in their quarterfinal matchup yesterday. Tuak then faced local French surfer and event favorite Pauline Adu in the semi-final, and although she put up a valiant fight with two waves in good range, Adu was able to find the better waves to take the win.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, Energy Minister Franklin Cann is strongly defending the Dragon gas deal inked between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela at the weekend. In the face of mounting concerns about the deal, Cann says it's a good marriage and Port of Spain will reap the benefits.
Minister of Energy Franklin Cann says because of the strategic geographical positioning of TNT to Venezuela, it created an opportunity for both countries to benefit significantly from the Dragon deal. But there have been questions about the contract entered into. Cann says 2 documents were signed on Saturday.
One, a base term sheet for the Dragon gas deal. This term sheet settled all the commercial terms of the gas sales agreement, especially the issue of volume and price, the 2 most important issues in any gas sales agreement.
And on the international scene, the killing of 2 competitors at a Florida video game tournament on Sunday has stirred the long-simmering gun rights debate in the state on the eve of its hotly contested state and federal primary elections. With Florida voters scheduled to pick candidates for governor and Congress on Tuesday, some Democratic contenders said the shooting on Sunday in Jacksonville was further evidence of the need for stricter gun legislation, while other hopefuls canceled their campaign appearances. We get more in this report from Reuters Television.
you can hear the gunshots. The moment a gunman in Jacksonville, Florida opened fire, captured in this streaming video. Police say 24-year-old David Katz began shooting after losing a video game tournament on Sunday, killing 2 people and injuring 11 before turning the gun on himself. On Monday, police searched for a motive in the 3rd mass shooting in Florida in 2 years. Witnesses told local media that the gunman was a disgruntled gamer, and it was not clear if he knew his victims. Police and FBI agents swarmed Katz's upscale townhouse in South Baltimore late on Sunday.
Everyone just started running, and the gunshots were everywhere. Like, all you heard was the gunshots and people just scattering all over the place.
The latest rampage occurred amid a debate over U.S. gun laws that was sparked anew by the massacre in February in which 17 people were killed in a high school in Parkland, Florida. A shooting which came 2 years after a gunman killed 49 people at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. And
with that note, we come to the end of our news update. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alert via WhatsApp. We're also on iZoom Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Frenella Wedderburn. Good evening.